Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Community Day with RunDiffusion. Let me share my screen here and get things rolling on our Discord. We've got a good crowd of folks who are here to join in every day on a Thursday every week. We do a Community Day bright and early in the morning for myself here, but we like to go over what's new techniques, and dive into some things we can do in the RunDiffusion platform. Today we've got Kohya, which is a fantastic training platform that is being used out to make incredible LoRa's, checkpoints, textual inversions. It's got a great suite of utilities, and today we're going to be looking at making a LoRa with the PRODIGY algorithm. Feel free to jump in with any questions if you have them. Let's get things rolling. So first off, we've got a medium and a large server. We will be doing an SDXL training. The medium has 12 gigs of VRAM, so it might not be enough, but we'll give it a go. Large does have 24. Maybe we'll start there, just get something rolling first. So the first thing is I want to talk about data set. So data set is incredibly important when it comes to putting together a LoRa. You don't need an insane amount of images. It's pretty good at small data sets, but getting the right quality and organizing your stuff is very important, so we don't want to miss it. Just last night, actually, one of the folks here at RunDiffusion showed me this new app, which is absolutely fantastic. Let me pull it over. It's called Eagle. I'm not getting paid by them, but I will show you a page for it. It's eagle.cool, right? So it's pretty basic. They have a 30-day free trial. It costs 30 bucks. I was using Adobe Lightroom before this, and it was kind of a pain. This is really, really effective and quick. You can zoom in, zoom out on your collection of images. You can make smart folders. So for example, here, I went in and made a rule for this folder. So anything greater than 1024 couldn't be either of these, width or height. I'll put it in this folder. It doesn't have the ability to do megapixels, which is what I did in Lightroom, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's very easy to make something, and this is the best part. If you go through and let's say I've got these like sci-fi kind of images, I can just start clicking them, scrolling through, okay, going through and saying, all right, there's some more. These look cool. All right, let's say I've got, these images. I can go here and go tag sci-fi. Now they'll show up when I look for sci-fi. So this is a really quick and easy way to go through, get some good data sets. You can just like tag them. I've already done a few here. You can see you can tag good quality, bad quality, and then you can put them in a smart collection and export them. So here I have, for example, these are all black and white images. I want to make a black and white kind of 70s to early 2000s photographic LoRa. Here's some more experimental types from an old book I got at a thrift store. And then there's some more modern types. So yeah, going through and quickly tagging things, organizing them is key. And that'll make you more productive when you're training, give you more things to test. There's a couple different ways to deal with quality. So for example, let's say I liked this image, but I was like, ooh, it's got this border, which is kind of weird. I could tag in and caption border, right? So then if I tag it, I can choose to bring it in the prompt or not. And think about that way. That's how people are using best quality, low quality. It's really fantastic for that. Nice. Anakin got this for the Crystal Clear team. Yeah, having people help you out on this is key, especially for the testing phase. I have an interview with War Anakin coming up very soon, which will be talking about their award-winning model training. Pretty fun stuff. We go deep into the the training method with them. So one thing I want to point out with Kohya on RunDiffusion is this TensorBoard thing. TensorBoard is basically just a way to get the charts. And it is not operational on RunDiffusion, but fear not. It generally it opens another window and we keep everything in this window. So that's why it doesn't work. But there is another way around it. So there's this site, Weights and Biases. It's free to sign up. You get all kinds of training guidance, and it will track across all of your different training runs. So I'll show you guys how to use that because it is super good. It's better than TensorBoard. So let's get things set up. Starting here, we're going to use the Excel base. So we don't need to change anything there. I've uploaded the images into this folder. So I have a training folder here where I have my data sets. And in here, chosen black and white photo, BW Pha, if you're a Vietnamese soup fan. And in here we can see the images. So currently they're not captioned. We'll need to do that. But for starters, let's get our folders set up. So this is a really important part. You'll see the folders are blank. So what we need to do is go to Dataset Preparation. We're going to choose BW Pha as our instance prompt. This will be a style. Now you can do styles with or without captions. Actually, there was a discovery yesterday that the text encoder training in SDXL for Kohya is broken. So there's a fix, either it's out in the last few hours or will be going live soon. So you don't really need to do captions, but of course I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. So as you know, on RunDiffusion, mount/private is the root directory. When you click home, you're in mount/private. We're going to add our folder here, train and BW Pha. So this is where our images are. For repeats, now repeats and epochs are something that are a little tricky. We'll talk about this in a second, but just know that the number of repeats that you specify here goes in the folder name. So here we have 31 images. Okay. So I will talk about a little bit how to do the math on that. Now, regularization images, these are really useful for getting accuracy. It kind of tells the training module, hey, here's what the model is outputting without your training data. It gives them a baseline to understand what the difference is in the trained data, and that can really help. In this case, we are not going to do a regularization image thing here. And then we need our destination training directory, which we'll just put like this. And let's prepare the training data. Okay, so it looks like nothing happens when you click it. Just know that the Kohya UI is not very responsive at all. So you'll click things and nothing will happen, and it's actually kind of a common occurrence. So just keep that in mind. For YouTube, yes, hello, Mr. Creepy. Happy Halloween-ish times. I can see you. I'm reading the chat. Hello, hello. This is live. I'm a real person. Okay. Let's go ahead and refresh. So with refreshing in this, if you click reload, it'll drop you back to the root directory. That's something that is on our long list of things to fix, to change. But you can also just go back one folder. So go back to train and then open it again. And now we see our folders are here. So if you click on image, you'll see 20 repeats, BW Pho style. And then here's all our images. Okay, so that's really important. Fun things to know. If you use this writing format and then you put it in here, you'll create an infinite loop of folder creation. By the time I stopped it when I was local, I was 700 folders deep. So don't do that. Just put it here. You can delete these images after, like I do, and they're gone. Okay, in here we've got the logs, and then this is where the LoRA models will go. All right, so now if we want to do some captioning, we'd go over here. Okay, so we're gonna again type our directory. There's our root path, train, BW font. Now we need to type image, right? Image, and then this. BW font style. Okay. Prefix to add to caption. Now this is optional, but you can add in the trigger word so it will bring in the style we want to do that. Caption text, so we will leave that. And actually we want to do this first. So let's grab that again. Go here. This is the one we want. So blip captioning is a style of captioning that uses the blip model to analyze the photo and put together a caption for it. Deep Buru is the anime style captioning. And then of course you can do manual captioning as well, which is recommended. If I had more time, I wasn't, on a training thing, I'd probably go through and at least modify the blip captions. I think we're good here, so we'll hit caption. Logs always going to be important. Now you're going to see that there will be error messages and different things popping up. Actually, in this case, did it not work? Man. It's been fun with Kohya. We've definitely had our struggles with it in getting it running properly, but just know that our struggles are, your gain. I always think about that when I'm trying to do this stuff locally, is like, if I get this right, I save so many people a headache. And that's kind of the mentality we try to take. So again, this stuff is in beta. We're doing our best to get you a good training product, but things do happen and things break. So if they happen, let us know, report it, and we will make sure to fix it. In this case, I'm just going to move on and continue going. But I will point out a couple things here with the utilities. So you do have the ability to convert models here and extract LoRa's, merge LoRa's, which is very, very useful, and do other LoRa type activities. So just keep that in mind. All right. So we're back at the training side. We've got our, oh, did I do the Dream Booth one? I did the Dream Booth one this whole time. Man, so we're going to go back to data set here. Now the folders are fine. We just have to copy the folders from here. So we're actually good. If we go and just copy these, then they'll be in the right place. Pop that there, output, pop that there, and logging. Pop that there. Here I like to put the trigger word BW, pa, BW, pa. Okay, so we've got that. Here you can load a configuration file. You can type the full path here to your configuration file and go nuts. I would recommend making a new folder each time, just because, actually a new like root folder with all these dataset prep, because it can get crowded, things will get unexpected, your samples will start getting weird. It's best to just start from scratch each time. It makes a ton of different files in here that can sometimes cloud things. So let's go to parameters. Now, the old way of doing things was to use an algorithm called Atom W8-bit, like this. It's good, it's slow, but you get decent results. Let me show you some things that I've tried recently. So, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but if you donate to Civitai, you get access to their model trainer. So I was testing their model trainer, and I did a few grids. So these three are different models trained with Civitai. The thing is, they change their algorithm all the time. This was the best epoch I chose of a certain illustrative style. It's kind of comic bookish, and you can kind of see the difference. So what's interesting is this one I used less, like there were some worse quality images in it. This is the trained part. This is untrained, right? This is just default kind of style with the prompt. So um, this one had higher quality images in it, this third one across, and these two were trained on the same data set. This one had lower quality images in it. And yeah, it worked pretty good. It was fast, it was very inexpensive. But what I noticed when I started going in, and this is the strength of the LoRA, right? So this is strength 1. It's a very hard style to train. You see, you've got a motorbike fused into a car here. He has a very like illustrative, flowy style, and so the model needs a little bit to learn with it. But you can see that the coloring and surfaces in the Kohya trained model are just of a much higher quality. This matches the source much more than this does, right? This feels like the outlines are not there, the hair is still photographic, and what I found is, test some more here, that the colors pop a lot more in Kohya. The three on the end are Civitai, and these are all different epochs from Kohya. And what you can see is the Kohya model, he has this like watercolor that comes through. This is a magic artist, Quentin Hoover, who has some great images. I usually just try to train something on it. And this is RDXL as the base, the beta version that's currently in there. So you can see when it gets to this lower training epoch, right, training epoch 8, the colors are a little bit faded and they get brighter at 9 and 10. And here they're still faded. So what I feel is though it's got some good stuff. I think it uses regularization images because it was able to get these like punky hairstyles that were, sort of in the dataset, but not really. It was able to get like better coherency, but what's happening is it's not training it as much. So it's a very like surface level training on the Civitai trainer. It does a good job, but it's closer to that photographic style, especially like the hair, the painting. But here you've got like much more of the comic book style, right? You've got this like thick outline like the artist has, and this style, this watercolor. So the Kohya training is much more accurate, and they were using first Atom 8-bit and then add a factor on Civitai. So these were done with PRODIGY, which is what we're going to train now. I think I may have one other seed which we can compare. Let's see. Is there another one? Yeah, this is just kind of the same thing. So got some cool stuff, but not very consistent with the style. It's sort of like half semi-realistic. These are just the Civitai ones. Here it's like pretty close, but that's the closest it got. All right. Anyways, enough with the grids. Let's dive into the settings. So here, oh, am I in Dream Booth? No, LoRA. There we go. We got all these. And this is what I've been using. So the Prodigy is basically an improvement over the de-adaptation algorithm. And de-adaptation is a optimizer that automatically learns what learning rate to apply to the model training. Prodigy is an improvement of that. And what people were seeing with the de-adaptation is it kind of wasn't going deep enough. I saw a great video by KasuCast on YouTube. I will link it.
Hot corners. I know.
Jeez, ads here on my default. So this is a great machine learning kind of student or professional who really goes deep into stable diffusion training, trying out all these different algorithms. It was very educational, highly recommended. I will post that on YouTube as well. So someone asked a question. The difference between Dream Booth and LoRA is this is full model training. This is just LoRA training. So LoRA for just LoRA training. Dream Booth model training, it's much more intensive. You'll need to use larger cards. It'll take longer, and the files are much bigger. So generally, you can just start with LoRA, get something that's kind of good, and then once you feel good about it, then you can move over to training it as a full model. All right. Well, all right, War Anakin providing some tips in the chat. Awesome. And they're going to have a course. All right, great. Keep an eye out for that. So here's the epochs. You'll notice we have 160. So if we were going to do, we have 20 repeats, right? We have 31 images times 20 repeats, 620, times 160 epochs. We're going to do 99,000 steps, right? So we don't want to do that. So instead, let's take how many steps we want. And in this case, I will take 3,500. We'll divide it by 30. Then divide that by 20. So let's say we'll do 6 epochs. Okay? Train batch size is 8. So this will give us, 3,600, 3,800 steps, something like that. Mixed precision, we're going to keep this at BF16. It works well on our cards. Cache latents, keep this at constant. Again, the nice thing about presets is most of this work is done for you. Now this we could set to 0 or keep it at 1. I'm just going to keep it as is. Network rank dimension, you can increase this a little bit if you'd like to make a bigger LoRA. So maybe we try 64, 32, and I am just experimenting a lot of the times. I'm not a training professional, but I will say that training is an area that is becoming something of professional expertise where people are paying good money for trainers. So lots of trainers are getting commissions, working with AI companies, starting their own consultancies. So if you're looking to get into AI as a career, you want a little side business, we work with a lot of trainers. We have businesses ask us for expertise, for help with training all the time. And so we're building a little network of trainers and enthusiasts and professionals so that we can all, win together, right? Okay, so we've got our training set up and the folders set up, parameters set up. Let's go over the advanced bit, okay? So here in advanced, there's a lot of extra stuff. Where's the, now where Anakin was saying SNR, something I need to do. What was, you want to explain SNR, War Anakin? I have to keep on a pretty tight schedule, so I can't invite you up on the stage, sadly, but if you can like pop in the chat and just provide some guidance, that's always appreciated. Right there, mid page. Right hand side. Min SNR gamma, recommended value of 5. So you're finding this works for what? The colors maybe, or the depth of the training, or colors. Okay, good to know. Training speed versus steps is this SNR gamma. Okay, cool. We are going to save, if we've got 3,600-ish, let's say we want like 3,800. Let's say we want like, I don't know, 12 models. So we'll do save every, I don't know, maybe a bit more. We'll save every 250 steps. Maybe 300. Yeah. Okay. And then down here, this is a little awesome thing. So let's talk about weights and balances really quick. Weights and biases. So this is the weights and biases login page. Here you can see multiple runs I did on that style, right? This is at step 700. I can compare different training runs. If I go up a little bit here, I can see the difference in the training runs. And I can look at the graphs comparing them all. And the loss graph, the loss is like how much is left for it to learn, I like to say. As the loss is going down, it's like it's learned the material. Think of it that way. You're training it, you're training it on a certain style, and as the loss is going down, it's saying, hey, I don't have much more of that style as a difference from what I'm used to. There's much more in-depth descriptions of it than that, but basically, the lower the loss, the better it is. Think of it like that, and you'll see the loss will vary quite a bit. But in this case, works opposite what I said, apparently. My goodness. Well, why don't we get a little description? I don't want to mislead anyone, but my understanding was it assesses the error of the model on the training set. There we go. The goal of training a model is to find a set of weights and biases that have low loss on average across all examples. See, lower better. So lower is better. If you want to keep it simple, just think of it like that. Lower loss, better. So I was right. Sort of. Look, I'm not a machine learning expert here, but I just do what works. Aha! I was right. All good. But hey, I'm open to being wrong about any of this. If you've got if you see I'm wrong, let me know. I'm happy to jump in, validate, confirm. Let's figure this out together, right? It's like this is a fun time. We're at the forefront of AI, and we're all learning. And yeah, something we know today could be wrong tomorrow, for all we know. All right, so I have my own key here, which I don't want to bring up. So let's instead grab this. So when you log in and get a free weights and biases account, you'll see this, WNB.ai. I just go here to user settings. Yep. Go into the danger zone. Danger zone. Grab that API key. And then we go back here to advanced, pop it in there, and go wand B logging. So we should be ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this up, hit start training. There we go. We'll see the training command go across. Loading image sizes. It's got the WNB API key. Now just keep in mind you have two places for logging in RunDiffusion. One of them is in the server manager, but if you have any problems with it, the hard-coded logs are stored here in the logs folder. So we can just go in and see this Kohya log here. There's our command, loading image sizes, key configured, so it's the same thing. And we'll just give it a second to, and if you want to reload it, just go back to this page here, logs. You'll see a few seconds ago. Oh, got an error. Oh my God, of course. Oh, I'm using the wrong model. That's my bad. So let's use base here. Stop training. Because I was in the LoRA tab, I forgot to change it. Ugh. Bear with me. This is generally how my trainings go, is like, oh, the folder name's wrong. Oh, I've got to change this. Oh, I've got to change that. So this stuff happens. It is tricky stuff. And we want to make it easy for everyone and get more tutorials and so on. Okay, loading image sizes. Again, appending the key. Let's see if we get it this time. We're in the Kohya text encoder code fix. If you look on the Stable Diffusion Reddit page, they're talking about it there, and there's a link to the GitHub where the dev is already implementing it. So if you've got info on that, definitely share it there. I'm sure they want to hear it. Check this log. Okay, so here we can see sometimes these update a little bit faster, right? So it's bucketing the images to different sizes, right? We've got all these different resolutions. Perfect. Up to 1440. And then down here, preparing the model, XL base, perfect, loading, converts it, checking cache validity, caching latents. Now it's running, and we've got our first step. Excellent. Phew! Nothing like doing it live. You imagine training with like a bunch of people watching over your shoulder and doing all these settings? Telling ya. It's fun. All right, so that's my old one. Let's take a look at the weights and biases page here. So we go up, and here we can see our run starting 45 seconds ago. Oh, but wait, I forgot a key thing. We're gonna stop this training and go back to parameters. And here. So it will not automatically generate the samples. And you have to put in a sample prompt in here. So for example, if we look at our train, bw-fa, right? There's our like log files, but there's nothing in here. Sample, nothing. Okay, these are the config files. So if you go into model and you see the config, you can just use that. You type in the path up here and load, and it will load the config. Very useful. We're going to sample every 100 steps, and I will save you the pain of typing this. Let me open it. For some reason, it just doesn't go in by default. So you need to put it in manually. So I actually wrote it down somewhere in here. There we go. No, not that one. This one. Yep. So here, so this is the same prompt. I have this in here, but we want, instead of painting, we want BW analog photography by BW font. Or maybe, wait, we want a style, right? So take that out and go BW font style analog photography. Okay. And then here we've got the N is the negative, right? And then width, height, this is the sampler. Nope, seed, sorry, that's a seed. And L is the config scale, and S is the number of sampler steps. So if you copy this, put it in there, then your samples will be sent to weights and biases. So let me hit start, and let's try that one more time. That one I'm guilty of quite often. I definitely make that mistake quite a bit. I wish it would just automatically add those in, but you do have to put in your, your little instance tokens and all that fun stuff into there too. So we can see this run here, and shortly when the first step goes across, we'll see the second run come through. Let me just see if we've got any questions out there. All right. So if you want to contact me regarding training, whether you want to be a trainer or you want to work with us, you want to show us some amazing projects that you're working on, we'd love to hear about it. Go over to our Discord. That's the best place to reach us. I'm Revolved. You can reach me there. Yeah, and someone's saying here, mention how important the element of LoRA training is with images on YouTube. Yeah, input images quality is very important. You can mitigate it by prompting it, right? Worst quality, best quality, and then you can access all those different things via the prompt. That's one way of working on it. But getting high resolution, good quality images is very important. If we take a quick look at our training data set, right? I didn't include all of these images. So for example, if we look at like this one, it's very grainy. So if I wanted to have that grain in there, I'd either have to caption it and be like grainy, or make it like worst quality or something, right? Here, I have these like image borders. Maybe I don't want those. I don't include it. You did it. That's how I feel when I get a successful training every time. Here, this one's like blurry. Now, if I want the blurry look and I really want to go for like an older style photography, maybe I would like label this something. This is an infrared image, which is pretty cool. But again, this is like kind of chaotic. This is like very confusing. And so the model won't really know what to do with it. This one's kind of brown. So I really want to make sure that I'm getting this, again, very confusing. This probably would really confuse the model, right? So you really want to go through, and what I like to do with Eagle and something like this is I would go through and I would say, first of all, I'm looking for any image that is specifically not going to be used, right? So I would say every image that I like, okay, I could probably see using that. Not going to use this one. Yeah, maybe I can use that for a more abstract one. Sure, sure. maybe, probably not. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, color, but yes. Yes, yes, yes. I don't need the text. So you just go through and rate them. And then you get to all the ones that you rated 1 and you go through again and you really narrow down what you want. Just keep going through. And I like to um, on the third run, maybe I'll crop images. Maybe I'll edit the contrast or brightness. And this is the photography workflow that I've used in the past. And it's a good way of keeping track of things. And then by the end, you've got your 4 and 5 stars, and you can do the 4 stars. You can caption them differently than the 5 stars, or however you want to do it. Just keep in mind if a lot of people are using your model that you'll need to, kind of change things. But that's a great way to process all your images. And again, it's very fast to use this Eagle program to go through all your images. There's some other ones out there as well. Let's go back to projects, network train, and we can see we've got a second run coming in here. Young Jazz, love it. If you want to, you can rename this. So we could say BW-FA2, Prodigy, something like that. And this one we can just say, hey, get it out of here. We don't need to see it. So we're at 40 steps. Once we get to 100, we'll start to get some samples in. You can see it chugging away there. It's got a lot to say. How are we doing over on Discord? Yeah, did I mistype the sample prompt? That's funny. She's wearing multiple shirts, Reina. That's what's going on, okay? White shirts. I don't know. Did I put that in here? Samples. In white shirts. They have that in there. I don't know why. She's wearing white shirts. Plural. Mm-hmm. Layering is key these days in this weather. Yeah, there's lots to go into with training in Kohya. I definitely recommend watching the KasuCast videos. They have a very exploratory style, so they do like a lot of the um, crazy deep research that so you don't need to, like in different things like trying different uh, optimizers and so forth. Well, let's pop open our workspace here. I like to just keep this up on one screen. We've got our learning rate, right? So it's like the learning rate is adapting. Text encoder. You can see lots of different stuff here. I don't even know what half this stuff is. GPU power usage. Why not? And 55 steps. It's chugging away. 80 steps. 81. About 17% done. Why is it only 465 though? I think I messed that up. Yeah. So I misdid the math, I guess. So let's do what it was recommending, which is, oh, I know what it is. I know how I messed up the math. If I go to basic here, I was right on. I had like, I'll show you my math, right? So we had 3,800. Wait, we had about roughly 3,800 steps we wanted. We had 31 images. And then we had 20 repeats. So I put 6 epochs. The problem is our training batch size is 8. So then it's dividing it by 8 again. So what we really wanted was 3,800 divided by 8 divided by 31. Probably like, yeah, twice as many epochs. No, that would be more repeats. So I think we can just go. The first one was 160. Oh man, the math is tough. Raina's got a great LoRA calculator. So if I've got like 465 steps and I want to get like 10 times that, then I would just do like, 60 epochs or whatever. And you can always end these earlier. What I found is that with Prodigy, it sort of goes through and like hits a certain training level pretty quick. Like if we look here, right, like this is 299. You still have like the SDXL style. There's our white shirts, but this is picking it up. Right? This is picking up the style right away. So it picks up the style extremely fast. And then these later stages, it's like kind of got the style. So then by the time you hit like 2,000 steps, you're like, oh, maybe it's already done. But these extra steps when you go along, and maybe I'll take out some of these shorter runs here. You can see some of them I trained quite long. Right? These two I went for a very long time. I did like 10,000 steps. And there's like a area around, in this case, like 4 to 6,000 based on the 50 images that I had, that it started to level off. These ones were the airbrush style model that I was training, right? There you can see the backgrounds coming in. So like the background and kind of stylization would hit a little bit later, but it gets the initial bit pretty fast. So you want to go a little bit longer than you'd think on the epochs, and then you just stop it if you're like, oh, that's trained, that's reached convergence, which is just the ideal kind of trained area, and then anything after that is overtraining. If you see that the images start to look the same, you can stop your training. What I've seen with this is it'll go through cycles of up and down, where you'll go through like a few sample images that'll actually be pretty bad, and then it will go to some that are pretty good. So just stick with it. We're at 120, so we should have a sample here. There we go. So our first sample came through of our lady wearing shirts, plural. Cool. So you can see it's very smooth, right? It's like it hasn't, the bokeh, the blur is like very, very strong. So it hasn't learned a lot yet about our model. It's only at 100 steps. So we'll just carry this out. I do have a hard stop at 10, so I can answer questions, anything you've got right now. And then I'll do a full training and post the LoRA for people to experiment with a little later. Can't hang out for a few hours while we're doing this, but as fun as that would be. I got beta testing to do, bug tests, bug fixing, all that fun stuff. So yeah, if you've got any questions, um, let us know, and let's figure this out. Oh, well, hold on. Let me get settled here. Check YouTube. Apologies, I'm jumping all around. There are some different thoughts on training batch size. Some people say you should only train on batch one. Other people say higher is better. I don't think higher is necessarily better. I would say that there's an advantage to training with batch size one, which is that you get the best of each, like you get the components of each individual image in. However, with some of the new de-adaptation and like Prodigy optimizers, it's not as important. This is just a theory. It's not as important as it was with like Atom 8-bit, where each image, especially in a low data set, you want to make sure you're getting it in there. But I would say the more images you have in your data set, the more you can afford to do higher batch size, because you have that many more steps to do, you have that many more images to do. So use a higher batch size if you've got hundreds of images, thousands of images, etc. If you just have a small data set, yeah, I would probably experiment with batch size and do another one at train batch size 1 and see how it reflects. Um, but there's a few different thoughts on this. And again, this isn't settled. This isn't there's only one proper way to do this yet. People are still figuring it out. So concepts is a good question, right? We have a question here. Interested in creating LoRAs that know about objects, training something to know pineapple for very well. For example, it supposes about getting lots of high quality sample pictures of the object, but curious to know if this is very different than training for styles. It is. In the captioning, in the way that you use the instance prompt, right? You're going to want to change things. So um, where we put style, right, you would put pineapple or object. Um, I think that an important thing to note is multi-concept training, and I want to thank Raina for testing this out. Um, she pointed out you can do multiple, and I'm going to pop open your folder setup here. So for example, they're training 3 different concepts in that you can prompt. And once you get this setting in, you have to check this setting, keep n tokens, and you would set that to 3 if you had 3 concepts. So thanks, Raina, for figuring that out. Again, you find any specific techniques that work well. We want to hear them. We want to spread the knowledge, make this easier and better for everyone. And it really does help. We've got to work as a community to overcome this. In regards to, do we have some magic developers who know this stuff? I mean, everyone's sort of got this specific knowledge, but when it comes down to different apps and platforms, everything's a little bit different. I mean, when we look at the samples from here, just know that these samples actually will look a lot better in automatic, just or comfy or whatever, just because of the back end work that happens in using the samplers and the ways that they reproduce an image. So keep that in mind, that these won't look as great, but in regards to, are there experts maybe in specific apps? Maybe you could get like machine learning experts who know some concepts, but it's all scattered across. Everyone's got their own little knowledge sets, and it's only by kind of bringing these knowledge sets together as a community that we figure this stuff out. Okay. Train the English alphabet to make custom fonts. Great idea. Love it. You could do like all different styles with different letters. I remember there was one guy who he was a Apple laptop reseller, and he would like get lots of like old MacBooks and iPods and whatnot, and some of them would just not be possible to fix up and resell. And he was an artist, so he would smash their screens in different ways and glitch them up, and then he would take pictures of the fonts through the smash screens, and so you'd get like crazy glitchy stuff. It was awesome. He'd have some that had like glitched up graphics cards too, and he would like use those, and he'd be like, I found the most amazing messed up laptop today. It was very cool. Let's take a look at our training here. Okay, 254, so we should have another sample. We roll over to weights and biases here. There we go. So our second sample's in. You can see the background feels a bit more defined. I would say there's like the smoothness is kind of like, it's a bit more clarified, right? If we go back to the previous image, and it's very hard to go from like, there's these tiny little arrows. It's quite funny. So we've got like better definition of the shadows here. Background, the shirts. Like look at the change in the shadows on the shirt. Huge difference. This one, it's like there's barely a shadow. Here we've got like very distinct stuff coming in. Cool. And there we see our loss, right? Loss going down, more information getting trained in. Think of it like that. Loss.jpg. If you know, you know. Know your meme. Um, yeah, so this is training with LoRA. After you get this trained, you're going to have all your models in. It's going, it's going. Again, we would want to do like a 60 epoch or even higher. Try some different batch sizes. Maybe I would keep this at 5 but do batch size 1 and then it would be 8 times as much. Could try that out. I'll do that after. And then in model, there's our config, there's our samples, there's our prompt file. And we should see around, what did we save every 300? So we'll get two models in this one, 2 outputs. So we'll just give it a second. There we go, generating another image sample. Snack asks, why do I prefer Prodigy? There was a great video by KasuCast I linked earlier where he goes over all the different ones. He really insults Artifactor. He looks at de-adaptation. He looks at Atom 8-bit. And he likes Prodigy out of all of the ones he tried. So it was quite a compelling argument. And I wanted to show something where people can get some really great wins easily with this. You don't need to know learning rates. You don't need to try that. Some people like to go in and really like fine tune that learning rate, get it exactly right. There's lots of different schedulers. You know, you can do, instead of constant like we have here, you can do cosine with restarts, cosine with warm up. There's different ways to do training rates, right? So keep in mind there's a whole lot of different ways to train. I'm not saying this way is the best, but if you're just getting into it, you want a good result. You don't want to mess with learning rates. Prodigy is a great way to do that. De-adaptation just like sort of didn't go deep enough into the training, like it didn't train it hard enough. So Prodigy was it. I do have to wrap up here. Let me just make sure, yes, all the different schedulers will give you a different result. Let's make sure we get our last picture here. There it is. Eyes coming in a bit weird, but hair a bit floofy. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. I will rerun this, do a more comprehensive testing, and do some X, Ys, and all that other fun stuff. And we can take a look at the results together on the Discord in the Dream Booth channel. Yeah, Eagle's awesome. Super, super great. Thanks everyone for watching on Discord, on YouTube. Much appreciated. Thanks for bearing with us while we get this platform up and running. You know, everything that you report bug-wise does help. If you get frustrated or anything, jump in the Discord. It is a complicated platform. There's a ton of features. There's a ton of things you can do. Not everything may work like you expect. Not everything will work. I will tell you that. But if you let us know, we can try to get it fixed right away. And we just want to make this a really great platform for training. But in order to do that, we do need help from a community to help us work through these things. Um, as much as we would like to spend all our time training and doing this stuff, we do have a lot of different projects that we're working on, and we don't want to lose sight of those either. So stay tuned, and yeah, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in.